Sure. Well, we can start to answer that for sure. Okay, we can start to answer that for you. I'll give you some answers, and then we can also check. Oh, okay. All right, so the question was from a resident in the Village Way Mobile Home Park. And the question for people at home watching is why does the owner of the properties pay taxes and then the individual homeowners also pay taxes, and why they went up as high as they did? Okay. Okay, so maybe I can ask you a question. Where does the sewage go from West Valley? Oh, you do? Really? I was not even aware of this, and I've lived in this town for a long time. Okay. Okay. Some of the answers we received was that the mobile homeowner, the individual owner of a trailer, is levied property taxes based on the assessed value of the mobile home. And the owner of the mobile home park is also levied property taxes based on the value of the land that he owns in that park. Okay. As far as snow removal, I have some information that was sent to us. When snow plowing results in the accumulation of windrows on the sides of the road, the clearing of property access is the responsibility of the affected property owner. But if it's on the corner where the truck turns into Village Way, the town will monitor that area to ensure that we're not creating an excessive windrow. And then we will try to adjust our clearing process. And I'll also turn to our CAO to help you with some of those questions. CAO Scoble.
Yeah, so where do your taxes go? They go into all the other city services outside of the trailer park, like the collector roads that you drive on. You mentioned you use the pool. The pool is actually 50% subsidized by the taxpayer. So the rate you're paying at the pool is actually 50% of the cost there. So the taxes that you pay go into the taxes that everyone else pays and into the common infrastructure and the common services throughout the town.
Okay, I will turn again to CAO Scoble.
Well, again, I said like all the common services, whether it's the fire services, the water services, you will pay for the water because the water comes from Calgary and then it goes into your development. The wastewater is separate. The stormwater management off the private property, basically every town service. Why your taxes have gone up so much, you would probably want to speak to the assessor at the time of assessment, and there's that opportunity every year when you get your assessment notice, because some go up more than others and some actually go down. It's all relative to what the average value of a unit is in a particular area.
And hopefully this lady will be able to check this recording and then maybe get some of her answers as well. So just to repeat that last little bit, you can check with the assessor. You can have them re-examine what their assessment was, and you can look at whether that will help you with your taxes. As far as help for seniors, I believe the town has a seniors tax rebate program. So that person could also check in with that and see if there are ways to help reduce or to get back some of that money. The other thing, as far as using the pool, I believe using the pool, the funding is a lot of funding. And I could repeat this for you. I know I see your back. Some of the common services were mentioned again by CAO Scoble. And it does go, there are large operating costs of running a pool. A pool is a money loser from the get-go. You can try to reduce the cost of running a pool, but it does cost a lot of money. So, and I sympathize with you because I'm not a swimmer at all. I don't know how to swim. I never used the pool. My kids maybe took swim lessons through the school, but I still have to pay property taxes, and that goes to helping pay off the building, and so the cost of using the pool, that is all part of the operational costs. And as far as your taxes, I was just mentioning that you can also contact the tax assessor to check on why your property may have been assessed so high. Did your assessment go up on your trailer within the park? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, that's one of the benefits, is that your property has gone up. And I have that on my property too. Like, we have a house with an detached garage, and our assessment value is way up from last year. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You gain in what the place is valued at if you decide to sell, but then also you get more property taxes. And they go to common things like roads. Even if you say, well, I only use Wheatland Trail and George Freeman and I go to the city, unfortunately, we can't tailor the overall taxes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So who pays your garbage pickup, and where do you do separately? And okay, and same thing with your sewage. You said you have your own treatment system? Would it help if we were able to try to find you an answer as far as garbage pickup and the sewage? But as far as your taxes go, you can definitely contact the assessor. You can get that information through the town, and then they can take another look at how you were assessed. That may help you as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There would have been an education component on that as well.
So the municipal property tax increase this year is 2.8%. The provincial education tax increase we've used is 20%. It could be higher than that. Okay, but then
that's one of the reasons that you saw, if you saw a 13% increase, that's because of our provincial government. We worked hard to get a 3.62% increase, but then they levy their own education tax that we have to collect for them. Now, the Alberta Municipalities Group, which is all the towns and villages and cities in the province, we just passed a resolution to go to the province and say, we'd like you to collect all the education portion, because that has nothing to do with us. And it definitely separates it in people's eyes that this isn't the town doing that. So if the education tax portion would have had the same increase as ours of 3.62, it would have really helped your situation. And to prepare you, one of Nate Horner, the finance person, has said to expect high education taxes in the next few years. So whatever we do here is often undone by the large provincial education tax. Now, unfortunately, we all have to pay that. Even I have no more kids in school, but now my grandkids are in school, so I pay that education portion as well. Okay. Well, we'll take that away. We'll take it away, and we'll take a look at how the garbage pickup and the sewage, if you guys are on your own system, which is kind of unusual, I think, isn't it, in a community of
No.
our size? It is.
No, those type of private properties, all of that stuff is,
Okay.
you know.
And it's a long-standing.
Yeah, in every
area.
community, it's not just Strathmore either.
Okay.
We don't even get bylaw officers that will come into our park unless the man who runs the park calls the bylaw officer. So if we have a problem in our park, we can't get anyone in there. Why?
Like I'm a development officer, across the street and 3 trailers down, I'm looking one day and there's an umbrella and furniture on the top of a mobile home. And that's totally illegal. I phone bylaw, they won't come in.
Well, again, I think the problem is that it's privately owned property. It's like if there's we get, I'll give you an example. We get complaints about potholes going into the co-op grocery store area and the PV Mart area, but we can't go and fill those potholes because it's not our property. So that's why the peace officers are affected, because it's not town-owned property. They can't really enforce on property that doesn't belong to them. You might have to have a talk. You guys, I don't know if you have an association for your. That might be a good thing to start up, because then you could pressure the owner to have some security patrols or something, and then you could also develop bylaws for the trailer area, so that someone can't throw up an umbrella and a patio set and a big screen TV on the roof of a trailer. Yeah, so that might help in that area if you started to organize, or if people could get organized into creating a homeowners association, and that would help with the policing part. But we can talk about as a group about the garbage and sewage. But if it's been a long-standing thing, we can hopefully take a look and discuss how it does affect your property taxes. And the last takeaway would be for you to contact the assessing company, and you can get that information at the town office, and then you can have that examined more carefully. Okay. Yes, I understand. Yep. Yep. Okay.
If I could add just one little portion, if you have 10 seconds for me. In terms of sewage and garbage, a large part of how that's funded through the town are the user fees that you pay on your utility bill. Because you don't receive a utility bill from the town, because you don't use our utilities, you aren't paying into those reserve funds, you aren't paying for the function of the sewage system and the water treatment plant, because you're not paying those fees on the utility bill. Does that make sense? So that's funded a lot of that funding comes separately from your property taxes, so you aren't paying into the wastewater but if your landowner receives a utility bill with those fees on it, then he would be. But if he's not receiving those services, and I haven't seen that landowner's utility bill, so I can't comment directly on that. But I would encourage him, if he is not receiving garbage services from the town and he's getting charged garbage services from the town, then he should call us. But that I can't answer. I don't know his account. I can't speak to that. But yeah, so you'd pay the water fees. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I thank you for how far we've gotten today, and that I interrupted everything.
Oh, no, that's okay.
No, that's what we're here for.
And you can find my cell phone information. I'll use the mic. You can find my cell phone information as well as my email address on the Town of Strathmore website. So you can check back with me, and I can also check with you to see how your assessment examination went. Okay, thank you for coming in. So we're going to move just now to the intro to the 2026 budget planning system. And we also have some submitted questions that were added online. So each of us have decided we'll take certain ones and we'll present information on those. And then we can also take more questions from the floor. But for now, we're just going to give you a little introduction to the 2026 budget. And I just want to stress again that we're very early into the process. We've had the one meeting, and it was a general overview of the budget process. Tonight, we're having our first presentations from various community groups that are coming to council to explain what their wish list is, their asks as far as financial support, and then to also explain a little bit about what their groups do to the council. So if I could turn to our head of finance, Liana, she will give you a little bit of an overview to tell you where we are right now in the budgeting process.
Thank you, Your Worship. So in the 2026 budget process, we followed a very similar methodology as the 2025 budget process. Council established timelines for the budget process. Managers undertook a significant review of their department budgets, followed by a comprehensive review by senior leadership and finance. Currently, administration has proposed a 2.8% property tax increase for the municipal portion of our taxes, which is sitting in front of council. The budget package was then released on November 6, 2025, and can be found on the town's website. As Mayor Fuel has mentioned, today is an opportunity for the public to be engaged with the budget process and provide feedback to council. The next steps are we're going to start our budget deliberations with council starting on Thursday, November 20th, potentially also on the 25th and the 26th, and we're anticipating council to approve the final budget in a regular council meeting at the beginning of December.
Thank you, Liana. And I just want to add a little bit too that just to reassure people, I know we get questions all the time about why is Strathmore's taxes so high compared to other communities. Strathmore's tax increases are not high compared to other communities. We are the lowest. We had the lowest property tax increase this year in all the towns and cities surrounding Calgary, and the provincial average increase for the municipal taxes was 5.4%. We were 3.62%. Yes.
Just a question on that, because I've kind of watched the municipalities, and we're ninth on the list of being there, but why is Chestermere, Okotoks, Calgary, Cochrane so much lower than us?
In their increase this year? I would have to see the stats because when we checked them, we were the lowest. Okay, yeah, I will double check, but I was under the impression that we were actually the lowest. And I think Cochrane had an 8% increase this year.
They're still a lot lower than what we are.
You mean what they pay overall? It could have a lot to do with the industrial tax base that maybe helps lower it. I'd have to look and analyze each community to see. But as far as I'm aware of, our taxes are quite reasonable compared to other communities. CAO Scoble?
Yeah, as far as I know, for this year at 2.8, we're the lowest of 22 mid-sized communities in Alberta. The average is over 5. You have to be careful. It's really tough to compare to other communities because they fluctuate by years. If a community is building an arena, or we've taken out borrowing for the Wildflower Reservoir upgrade, we're proposing borrowing for the capital trunk, the major trunk sewer line in town. So, they're useful, but they're not useful. Sometimes it's a lot of work to interpret them. But a lot of it has to do with tax ratio too. And I've seen some comments lately about, we're higher than counties. You'll never find a town that has lower taxes than a county. And it comes down to a tax ratio. So our tax ratio's about 80-20 right now. It's just under 80, but that means 80% of the taxes are paid by residents, 20% are paid by the non-residential customers. So a community like Leduc is 62.38, for example. So, you know, if you're putting $100 of diesel in a sanding truck, Strathmore residents are paying 80 of that, where a Leduc resident's paying 62. That's a big difference when you add up everything else. So I don't want to digress too much, but that's why we have such a strong non-residential tax base attraction and investment initiative right now, is to really, the more business we can get in Strathmore, the easier it is on the residential taxpayer.
Marcia. Well, I'll come back to you, Kara. Okay, Marcia.
So does that, is, if we were a city as compared to being a town, would that change that increase? 'Cause
No.
like Airdrie is a city,
No,
so
no.
is Cochrane.
No, probably, well, I would say no, because one of the big things that would happen, if we were suddenly to become a city tomorrow and we became the city of Strathmore, we now would take over the maintenance, repairs, snow clearing, street sweeping of the 817, all the way from the south border of the town to the north border. So that would add a big cost. And I'm just not sure if the cost of becoming a city with taking over the 817 is actually worth it right now. But it wouldn't affect how your property taxes. In fact, actually, if we received Highway 817 and it wasn't in the greatest of shape, or a major repair had to be done after, it would impact our taxes negatively, because suddenly that's an expense that we don't have right now. So becoming a city wouldn't affect us positively. I mean, it might attract business. That's what the old saying is, that we'll get more businesses to move here. But as far as our property taxes go, I think if anything, well, it would have to increase it, because we suddenly would take over the maintenance care of the 817, which we don't have right now. So it would raise taxes at this time, I believe, yeah. Sure.
So, with the number one being federal, provincial, municipal, how do you go about lowering the speed limit so that semis aren't blowing through red lights every single day?
Yeah.
That road east and
Oh, I know.
and it's pretty scary.
Yeah. The Highway 1 is still a provincial controlled highway. So for example, we saw the accident this summer where the traffic lights were taken out. Well, the province had to come in and pay for that and get it replaced. It took a little while, and there was some confusion. They even thought it was our duty to replace the traffic lights there, but we had to remind them that it was a provincial jurisdiction. But as far as speed limits on that, we did have it lowered to 60 as you come into town. And we're not allowed to put speed cameras, radar cameras anymore. That's been taken away by this provincial government. So I know in the past that radar cameras affected the way I drive. I don't want to get tickets. So I think they do have a positive effect as far as making the roadways safer and slower. But right now, we're not able to do that. We could, I mean, we have RCMP. We could try to talk to our staff sergeant as far as patrolling and keeping an eye on it. The problem we also face is the Trans-Canada Highway is a major corridor that trucking goes through, and they're obviously not very keen on having the speed limit keep going down because they have places to go. But we do have the problem of sometimes vehicles that blow through red lights, that speed faster than they should be going. It could be just enforcement, and maybe the province will re-examine the use of radar cameras to help deter speeders. I don't know if that helps answer your question.
Show, how many vehicles are going through our community, east and west.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so, like, the average citizen does not need to get killed.
No, I understand.
The semis that blast through town.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know if they have a traffic count going on all the time right now. I think you can ask for a traffic count and then they can set up the equipment for that. But I don't know right now if they're doing a traffic count each and every day through the Trans-Canada. But yeah, I'm just hoping that the province re-examines radar cameras for speeding, and that we can look at that as a way to help bring that speed down.
Can we put some sort of document forth for
It would be great if you wanted to contact our MLA, Chantel DeYoung. You know, you could express those concerns. I don't know exactly the procedure for a provincial petition, but, CAO Scoble? I don't see you lit up.
I didn't have my light on, but.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. Question here?
Yeah, so with taxes going up so much, why are we doing things like Maplewood Drive? I understand that maybe the water and sewer needed to be replaced there, but they did not need to make that so narrow that the school buses can barely get down it.
Okay, I have some answers, and I actually decided that I would, this has been, thank you. This actually takes us to number 6 of submitted questions, but I actually decided to do some homework, and I went to Brentwood School to talk to staff. I was hoping to talk to the principal, but the office staff there were able to get me some information, which I think I can share with you. First of all, the whole design philosophy on Maplewood Drive was traffic calming, because it's a road that connects to Brentwood Drive and then further on to Brent Boulevard and then south to Centennial Drive. And we've had 2 fatalities on that road, which is crazy because you have a school zone, a playground zone, you have a lot of housing, you have 2 churches, the Full Gospel and the Latter-day Saints Church. So that road was being used at too high a speed anyway. So the philosophy behind the design was traffic calming. And the reason that the road had to be done in the first place was we had a lot of infrastructure that had to be replaced to tie into our stormwater system. But it was traffic calming that was the main leading force, was to slow the speed down. Now, I've driven that road a lot now. My wife used to teach at that school for over 30 years. When I talked to the staff there, they told me that the lady who's now in charge of safety patrols feels that that 4-way intersection at Brentwood School is awesome, and that the bump outs are there because they were having trouble with Maplewood Drive before it was done, with people stopping and then cutting the corner as they turned, even when patrollers were out.
Understand the bump outs.
Okay. Now the rest of it,
The rest of it was not necessary. All the extra green space, there was already green space there.
well, I believe that the information that was given to us was that the roadway is still fine for vehicles traveling, passing each other, that it will still work.
I drive a school bus.
Yep.
So I can tell you that at some points in that road, if infrastructure does not keep that road clear and clean,
Well, we
when
haven't,
we get a snowstorm, we will have a problem.
but we don't know that yet. To be fair, we haven't seen how the snow clearing will work on that roadway yet, because it's never been done until now going into this first winter. So we will see. I have a lot of faith in our operations staff and Donna, who's the head of it. I believe that road will be taken care of. And again, I've mentioned that we had 2 deaths on that road because people were going to.
We've had how many deaths at the corner of the number 1 and the 817? And, we're not.
And that would be the province, that's the province's responsibility. So again, talk to your MLA.
Municipality that is within, and that's within our
Yes.
thing. You as our councilors
Yep.
and mayor should be also approaching.
Yeah, we are. We will. We have. Yeah, we have talked to them. Here's a report, or here's a comment from one of the bus drivers for Brentwood School. He was asked how the road is, and the bus loop especially. He was asked mainly about the roadway. He didn't express any concerns about the roadway. He said this about the new bus loop and the patrol crossing. It is excellent, and this is all quotes. It is excellent. I really appreciate the pavement in the bus loop and the access points. Also, driving through the 4-way stop both directions is excellent, as the wider sidewalks and recessed parking for vehicles dropping off their children at certain spots is safer, and it is working well. So that's from one of the bus drivers that directly responded to me. As far as snow removal, again, I guess we'll see. I have faith in our operations team that this will be able to be handled, and that that roadway is going to be safer for kids. And it wasn't just landscaping. We put in new pathways, and some of them are set back a little farther from the roadway. They're freshly paved so the kids can walk safely to schools. They've created some parking wide spots near where the townhouse is. You know, where you go from Maplewood Drive to Centennial, there was a lot of uproar that people were losing parking spots. But I think there are 3 spots in a widened area there, so if you have a visitor at that townhouse, you can park there. Did you want to speak, Claude?
I just want to say something. So first of all, thanks for coming in. And I did meet you when I was campaigning, and we did talk about the same things. I went up and I had a look at the road personally. I didn't see, I know it's narrow, but I didn't see a specific spot that I found it was too narrow. And so what I would ask, I know, again, nice to see you. I'm really glad that you came out and actually voiced this, because we were going to get to it. We've only been in office for just under a month, so we're getting there, right? But I would like to know specifically along the road, if you see there's a potential trouble spot, if you could communicate that perhaps with administration, and then we'd know what to look for or what to remediate in the future. But as the mayor did say, until we've gone through one full season, well, we don't know 100% if it's going to be bad or not, right?
Aware, and I mean, I don't know, when I had kids, they got in on the passenger side, they didn't come around and get in on the driver's side.
Yeah, the minivans only had the door on the right side. Yeah.
And, you know, they did not put those bump outs far enough in to stop that from happening, where the driver's door or the passenger, back passenger door was out on the roadway.
Okay, that's a valid point, actually. So yeah, I mean, we should take that into consideration. So where those pullouts are, maybe the pullouts could be a little bit wider. Might also be a good idea for the schools to communicate with the parents the dangers of opening their car doors, you know, on the roadside instead of towards the curb. So we can look into doing that. But again, like I said, I really appreciate you coming out too, as well as your companion from the park as well, and bringing that forward. But I think we should work with administration. If you do see a particular area that you think is a problem or will be a problem, let's identify it now, and we'll watch out for it. Does that make okay with that? Okay.
Thank you. And before I go to Dan, right? One of my former students from way back. I do have a little report here from, and we were going to read the report and then take questions, but it's okay if it goes in the other direction. And I appreciate your comments and your question. So the reduced roadway is intended to slow traffic, provide a better pedestrian experience, and provide a more enhanced landscape. But the main focus was safety. The roadway is similar in width to those seen downtown and is more than 1 meter wider per lane than an average size vehicle. Discussions with our operations team regarding snow clearing has occurred, and it'll be continuously monitored throughout this first winter to provide efficiencies, and that's what we do with all new roads that are paved. So I'm asking for a little patience. Like I know that a petition got started this summer over it, even while it was being first started on construction. And I was just hoping for a little more patience to see the final result, but obviously people were up in arms about it. And I'm thinking now that I've driven it. My wife told me about the four-way intersection. My wife ran safety patrols there for 30 years. And she said, I would have loved to have had a four-way stop intersection like what is created now for my patrollers back when I was teaching, because they're much safer with the bump outs, and it's not going to allow people to cut the corner if they're doing a quick stop and go. So there are positives about it. We just have to see as far as traffic flow and snow removal, and we'll be able to monitor that this winter. But the good news is, from one bus driver, is that the loop is improved, and he also likes it. Okay. So we'll just see how the first season goes with snow removal, and how people get used to adapting to it. I had one person complain to me that because it's narrower at Maplewood Drive and Centennial Drive, if you're turning left, it's not wide enough that you can have a right turn lane all to yourself. So you have to wait for the person in front of you to turn left. And so my question is that such a hardship in a town that you have to wait for one vehicle to turn left before you can go? Again, it all comes down to safety. It was all about safety.
When I pull up with my bike, I never lap two lanes anyways, because you have a tail swing.
Yeah,
And what my concern with that narrowing there is the tail swing into the oncoming traffic,
right.
because there isn't enough room for that bus to be overflowing.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just asking for a little patience that we see how things go with this through our winter. And if we get a lot of complaints, we can definitely look into it. We can make some considerations. But again, I've driven it probably 15 times recently because I want to see what this roadway is like. And I am confident as far as how the road is designed that it's going to be a slower road because there's a bit of slight curves too. And with the bump outs and the recessed parking, it deals with those parking issues. And I think it's going to really slow the traffic on that road. And it's not designed, it shouldn't be a connector road where you can just burn through it to get to Centennial or Brent Boulevard. We want the kids safe. So that's what the emphasis was. I'll go to Dan. Because they can't make the turn? Okay. Well, okay, well, I guess it comes back to we'll see how this winter season goes and how it. Yeah. We've tried to allow parking areas like in front of that townhouse. Right. Yeah, but they have parking at the back and they have that cul-de-sac area that they can also park in. So they were having parking on that road where they didn't necessarily have to have the requirement of that amount of parking. Because there's a certain number of parking spots allowed for a development like that townhouse. They have parking at the back, and there's opportunities to park in that crescent as well. But we still put in a wide area so 3 other vehicles could go there. So we think we've addressed that in a reasonable way there. I haven't seen all the parking signs along Maplewood that you're talking. Okay. I don't think the philosophy was to add more parking on Maplewood. When I said we added parking, I meant that we added parking in the wide areas that would still allow some parking on Maplewood. But my whole concept as far as defending this roadway is that it's designed to be a slower roadway because so many kids. Well, that could be another thing you can do. Right. 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 One was, I knew the lady who was killed. She was walking with her husband right by the disc golf course on Maplewood Drive. She was, yeah, and that's the thing. If you have the design of a road to slow the traffic because it's not as wide as Maplewood was, the design itself should help force people to go slower. Yeah, well, I haven't driven it at night. Mm-hmm.
We experienced that, so now what we've done is we made it an inconvenience for those residents. And no one approached us as those residents to say, hey, what would you guys like to see? You went and completed a complete project that is now non-negotiable.
Well, from what I understand, there were opportunities for the public to get involved with it.
No one was given the option. We were given the option to pick 3 choices of how we would like to finish it off.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want this landscaping? Do you want this landscaping? If you talk to any of the people in there, if any one of us heard that you're going to narrow the road, no one would have agreed to any of that.
Well, I think the roadway still allows for, I mean, I read this, the roadway is similar in width to the ones in downtown and more than 1 meter wider per lane than an average size vehicle.
So when are we going to do that to Centennial Avenue? Are you going to carry that on to Maplewood Drive all the way to the junior high?
Well, to be honest, Dan, if it was me making the only decision myself, which I can't do, I'm one vote on a group of 7, I would look at 40 kilometers all through the town everywhere. That's what I would do.
And that's absolutely fine. But do you think those accidents, the one you said happened in the daylight, the second one, I'm not sure what time it was, but I know it was dark.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm assuming speed was a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think a 40-kilometer road or a narrow road would change that result?
Well, you know, that's just it. If we make it 40 all the way through town, there are still going to be people who ignore 40 kilometers an hour. We have a province that wants to raise the speed limit on certain highways to 120. Well, we all know everybody, well, most people, whatever speed limit is posted on a highway, you creep up by 9 kilometers so you don't get a ticket. But now you're going to have people driving 129 on the Highway 2 to Edmonton as a normal speed, let alone the people who are going faster. So speed limits don't always work to help slow down people driving. But we thought with this roadway, the way it's been designed, it would help to slow down traffic and help protect the kids and help protect the playground. Are people going to ignore it? Probably. Are people going to ignore it at nighttime? Some will. But the road itself is designed so for the most part, it should be much safer, and we'll see how the winter season goes because...
We're talking, this gentleman just told you that his wife and several other people have had to back up for the buses to be able to turn.
Okay.
That is unsafe.
Well, we don't have, as a council, we don't have all the proof of that. I mean, it could be one time that this happened. It could be anecdotal. But again, I really think with this roadway, we just need to be a little more patient and see how it works, see if drivers can adjust their driving, adjust everything that deals with that roadway coming off Centennial to see if it does improve as far as safety. And the teachers will also be able to weigh in because they see a lot of the things that have been happening along that roadway. Again, I come back to my wife. She told me lots of stories about people who cut corners at the 4-way stop. So we know that that area is safer. And if that area is safer, that's one piece of the puzzle of that road. We tried to make the roadway more safe. We can see how this winter goes and see how everything works out. We'll see what the communications are like from the town residents. I just ask for people to have a little more patience and see how the roadway turns out in the end. I think people do adjust their driving based on how the road is constructed, not necessarily a sign that says 40 kilometers. Because I've had people in this town in a playground zone near Strathmore Lake pass me going way more than 30 kilometers, and it's a roadway in front of the lake at Strathmore Lake. It's a roadway wide enough for 2 full lanes, and I've been passed on the right by a person going really fast because I was going 30. And I always thought you shouldn't pass in a playground zone, let alone pass on the right, let alone be over 30. Absolutely, and that's why we tried to have this road be designed to slow things down.
Here's another thing on that road. They took the end of playground zone, and it's about, I don't know, 30 feet off of the side of the road. It's over by the pathway instead of on the side of the road.
Sorry, are you talking about signage, like a sign? Okay, well, we can look at where sign placement is. That's an easy fix for our staff to take a look at. And again, I have full faith in our operations team. Donna, when there's a major snowstorm in the town, our head of operations has a Hyundai Elantra, which is a small low car. She travels the roads in that to see the worst case scenario for a person who's in a car. How will it be for a person in a car on a roadway as far as responding to snow removal that quickly? Like, she likes to be in a vehicle that a person could be in when they're trying to get through the roadways after a major snowfall event. So I'm really confident that our operations team will study this through the winter. They'll come back and tell us how it was for snow clearing. They'll tell us how it was for buses traversing and making turns. And we're always ready to listen to people, for sure. But please, let's just have a little more patience with this roadway and see how it turns out. And then we can also look at other things to do in this town, too, as far as making the roads a lot safer. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Marcia was up first, and then I'll come to you.
Why doesn't the town and the municipal enforcement and the RCMP do an education campaign for how to drive safely on that road? And it's not the school's responsibility, it's the entire community. And so get the cops over there and the municipal people and maybe start ticketing people who are not following what needs to happen on that roadway.
And that's always a response that the municipal peace officers can do. I'm sure they're also going, now that this has come up and we're talking about it in public and we've got notes that are being put out for the public, I'm sure our operations people and our bylaw officers, our peace officers will keep an eye on that. And we have a person in our communications team who's here in this meeting right now. And maybe the town, they've done a wonderful job at education in other areas. Maybe we can do a specific one for certain roadways and just remind people about the need for slower traffic on a road like Maplewood Drive, because it really shouldn't be treated as a connecting road to go at a fast speed so you can get to Centennial and you can get out on Freeman to the Trans-Canada. That's not what it's all about, because it has the playground zone, it has the school zone, it's got 2 churches. So it's not really a fast commuting connector road. It shouldn't be treated that way. So we're hoping that this winter will give us a lot of answers.
And put that in the paper.
Yep.
Put it in the paper and say, okay,
And that's,
what's happening in this roadway?
yeah.
And actually advertise that in terms of, for the safety of the kids and the community
Yeah.
in this area of the town.
Yeah, and I'm sure CAO Scoble and I will chat about this tomorrow in our weekly meeting, and we'll find ways to get the communications out about this roadway, to have a little bit of education on it. And again, I'm please asking the public, if you're really mad at Maplewood Drive and you're frustrated, just wait a little longer. Just wait and see how it goes. To be honest, I haven't gotten any complaints lately since it's been finalized. I became aware of people who were worried about it during the construction phase, but since it's been operating for a few weeks now, I haven't had people directly contact me. And I'm not blowing smoke up anybody. I'm not blowing smoke, because I really haven't been contacted by anybody lately. So please have a little more patience with that roadway. And I'll reassure you again that our operations team will be keeping an eye on it, and our peace officers will also keep an eye. And, I can also touch base with the Brentwood school staff again, because they walk it, they drive it, they have kids out on the playground near it. So they'll be able to give us some information as well. So a little more patience. I've got you and then Teresa, and then I'll give the mic to Melissa first.
Can I pop in for just 1 second? I promise I'll be quick. I just wanted to pop in. So I live just down the street from Maplewood Drive. So I drive on it multiple times a week. So you have someone on council that is constantly watching the road at the very least. I I do see what you're saying about cars pulling up too far ahead at the intersection with Maplewood Drive and Centennial Drive with the buses. What I'm wondering, I see there's the stop sign has not been moved to the correct position yet. And I'm wondering if there's a possibility that we might be able to move the stop line back a little bit to have people stop. The fence is in the way for that house. The fence is in the way. Okay. Right, but to have kind of have someone stop first and then creep forward rather than pull all the way forward. I'm just spitting out an idea and noting that the sign isn't there yet.
letting you know that as a bus driver, when you're coming up to that, and yes, I stop before that stop sign
Yeah.
because that is the law. But I, again, have to creep forward. Once I creep forward, well, even at the stop sign itself, if I was to start to make my turn, my tail swing on my bus
Right.
is going into that oncoming lane, no matter what I do, because
Right.
it's not wide enough.
Right, which would be an issue if someone's trying to turn onto Maplewood Drive at the same time that you're turning. But, okay,
And this, is that the corner you were talking about?
Yeah.
Where they've had to back up?
yeah. So we need to move it sounds, yeah, there's a stop line issue.
That corner should be back wider again. It's not by the school. I think that we should take it back to a normal
Okay.
corner and give that room so that we're not having an accident with our bus.
All right, thank you for the feedback.
Okay, and just to circle back to that again, yeah, I'm going to come to you right away. Just to circle back to that, I'm still going to kind of preach the same hymn that we hang on a little longer and be patient and just see how people learn to manage it. We have the winter season coming up. The roadway is new. There have been complaints about.
The thing they could do is just put a three-way stop in.
Yeah, and there are different measures that we can take. But we'll be looking at the way this roadway functions all through the winter, and we can make some decisions as we get information. So let's go on to this gentleman, and then Teresa.
So just a comment when you're talking about your operations team, the snow removal and all that. We live in Ranch Downs. And it's a cul-de-sac. Last, probably 8 years, they've been in there once. We've had neighbors that have to go out with snow blowers to clear paths so we can actually get out of the cul-de-sac.
And then when they do come, they pile it in the middle, and it becomes a playground
Right.
for the kids.
Well, normally, and oh, Kara, is that, no, that's Jonathan's lights on? Oh, okay. Normally, and I think you'll find this at almost every municipality, cul-de-sacs are not done very often.
Why do we pay the same tax and we don't get that service?
Well, why do I pay the same tax if I don't use the swimming pool? I don't use the arena. Why do my taxes go to the arena? It goes, well, here the thing is, in any town's snow removal budget, you're trying to focus on the main operation roads, the ones that are really important, like getting to a hospital. The downtown core needs to be cleared. There are major connector roads. Like, there's a priority system of how they do roads. And unfortunately, cul-de-sacs are not on a high list of things to do. Because if you add it,
These days I could not get my car out of the garage over the snow. I couldn't walk it because it's icy,
yeah.
so that's okay.
Well, I don't know if admin wants to jump in on this. Oh, sorry, Jamie, I can't see you over there. Thank you. This is Mr. Dugdale.
Yeah, I mean, I just reiterate what the mayor has said. I mean, we have a snow policy that comes to council annually. It shows the priority routes. Local roads and cul-de-sacs are not cleared. It would be, council has the ability to change that year over year. It would be significantly more expensive for everyone if we were to look at a different approach in terms of plowing all of those roads. And, but again, council could adjust that year over year.
So they have,
We honestly moved into a cul-de-sac, never being in one. So to me, this is serious because it's
yeah.
something. Last year, we had a senior stuck in the middle. And she didn't know what to do.
Yeah. I understand cul-de-sacs are a problem. They are a problem as far as snow removal. Again, like Mr. Dugdale said, if we were going to do all the cul-de-sacs in Strathmore, it's going to be I mean, they have the pricing set out per kilometer of how much it costs for snow removal. So to do cul-de-sacs, it would really increase. We'd have to add to our taxes. Because this is this is the level of snow removal we're getting for the taxes you pay to add cul-de-sacs. It would be over, I'd be paying more taxes, they would, you would. I know it's not the answer you want to hear. I totally understand that, but just for us to be able to come in and do cul-de-sacs.
And yet you won't allow us if we have a tractor to clear that road. We've been told that's illegal.
Yeah, I understand that has been something that was brought up. Did you want to?
Just CAO Scoble.
Oh, CAO Scoble.
So like the mayor said, the operations manager's out as much as she can in her sedan. But if there's a problem that the road is impassable, please call operations. We have the latitude if a road is impassable to come out and do something about it. So we may not get there right away, but you know, once the priority roads are done, if the crews have time, they do clean up elsewhere. But if there's an impassable road, we have the latitude without council direction to come in and clear it. But we can't, you know, it's like, you know, when we have a big storm and all the drains are backing up and everybody expects us to be at their drain immediately. We have 1,500 drains to do. We can't be everywhere at once. But if you let us know there's a problem, we'll get out and look at it. And if we think it's a problem, we'll take care of it. But the snow will be piled in the middle. That's what happens because the snow has to be put somewhere. Like we can't, and then we'll come back and get it in a few days later. But, you know, we can't, unless you want us to put it on your lawn, we have to put it somewhere. So cul-de-sacs, it goes in the middle. And in every town I've lived in Alberta, and I've lived in many towns, you put it in the middle, but then we'll come back and take care of it when we have time. But it's all a priority basis. So if we make the road passable, there's going to be snow in the middle until we have the resources to get back and get it later.
So just a final addition to what CAO Scoble says, if there's a major snow event tomorrow and your cul-de-sac is impassable, one of the things you can go is go right online to our Town of Strathmore website, and there are links there. You can go to what's called the Citizen Communication Form, and you can direct your concern to the correct department. So you could put it right to operations and say, the cul-de-sac at such and such is impassable, we need help immediately, that kind of thing. You can let us know. If that helps you, I think, and for people at home, if you ever have a question that you need answered or you need some help with something, we have a Citizen Communication Form. You can direct it to the exact department you want it to go to, and our staff is trained to respond. And if it's something like where you have, like CAO Scoble was saying, if your cul-de-sac, you can't get out and an ambulance can't get in, let us know on that link, and they're trained to respond to that. And Donna and her team are, you know, people always get upset about snow removal, but Donna and her team, Donna lives here and a lot of her team lives here. We want to try to do good things for our residents. Just use that official way, and I think that'll help a lot if we have a big snow event.
Just what you said there, it was a great point, was that an ambulance couldn't have gotten it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they walk through, they get there.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's critical few minutes.
Yeah, so if you can use that if you can use that link for the Citizen Communication Form, that'll go a long way.
Just to be clear,
sorry?
we will do the priority 1s, 2s, and 3s, and then we
Yes.
get there. A cul-de-sac will never make that priority ranking. So we'll get there when we get there, but we've got to keep the, you know, it's outlined in the policy, the priorities of the roads, and council decides that. So if it's impassable, we'll get there when we can get there, but we've got to get everything else cleared first. That's already stipulated by council to be cleared.
Thank you. Teresa?
Mine is concerned about 817. The other day, I watched a car speed by a school bus. And they were trying to turn, and they went around this way. What happens if a kid got? And then another way, if they're trying to drop off kids, kids are trying to get off that bus.
Yeah.
and they're speeding.
And that's the trouble, is you have an incident like that happen, and you hope that an officer sees it, or that the bus driver reports it, or someone else reports it, but they can't always see when an incident like that happens. You count on people to do the right thing when they're in school zones. Unfortunately, we all know that not everybody does that. Okay, we could go one more question, and then I'd like to get on to some of our other points.
Just throwing a thought out there, like, why can't we have some, like, you know how they have pedestrian overpasses in other cities, towns, whatever? On our 817 and our Highway 1, could we maybe look at having a couple of those that would, you know, maybe get rid of some of this concern?
You know, that's a really good idea, and it all comes down to who owns the road and who has control of the road. So, for example, if you wanted to have an overpass walkway on the 817, you'd have to directly deal with the Alberta government, because that's not our roadway until we become a city. TransCanada, same thing. I had, 15 years ago, when I was first on council, a high school student wrote a letter wanting the town to put a pedestrian walkway across the TransCanada, because a lot of kids work at BP's, McDonald's, Canadian Tire. Makes sense. Unfortunately, that highway is a provincial controlled highway. So, and so from an ownership and management, it's not ours to do anything with. Second thing is, it's not ours to have to pay the millions of dollars to put a pedestrian walkway over the TransCanada. That would be a provincial thing that you would lobby to and say, spend provincial money on putting a better pedestrian crossover. It wouldn't be the town. Otherwise, if we had to put in a pedestrian walkway over the TransCanada, we would have to go through a lot of hoops to get provincial approval, because it's their roadway. And then secondly, we'd have to pony up the millions and millions of dollars to put one in, because they are not cheap. And they have to be done properly with the proper meshing, because you don't want people throwing rocks or things down onto the motorists. Jonathan?
Oh, nothing related to this question, Your Worship. Is just I have some questions for you that were submitted, so I can jump in whenever you guys are done with the questions.
So that's why we can't necessarily do it on the 817 in TransCanada. It could be done, but we'd have to really work with the government to allow that in the first place. Then we would take on the fundraising, or not the fundraising, but the funding of it. And that would mean property taxes go up, because if we suddenly had to, and I'm just going to drag a number out of the air, let's say it's $7 million for a pedestrian crossway over the 817, that price would have to be agreed on, and that decision would have to be agreed on by council, and then the money has to come from somewhere. We're either taking it from reserves for something like that, we are taking a loan to help pay it, or we're raising property taxes to pay for something like that. If we leave it to the provincial government and hammer away and pressure them, maybe they'll take that off our hands as far as doing it. So if people at home, anyone here in the gallery, if you're really, really concerned about a pedestrian walkway, I would contact our MLA's office and start that process with the Alberta government. We haven't even, as a group with these new councillors, as a group, we haven't even talked about the concept of city status, if people are interested in it or not. I don't even know if this council is really interested in us pursuing city status. If we do take city status, then we take over 817. Province still has the TransCanada, I believe. Is that correct, CAO Scoble? The province would still maintain control of the TransCanada?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, Jonathan, do you have a couple of submitted questions? Oh, and I just got a note here. A comparable pedestrian overpass over a provincially regulated road was $20 million the last time it was done.
Can I pop in for a second? Just one consideration, if we wanted to do a pedestrian overpass over Highway 1, is it's an oversized goods route. So it would need to be really, really tall. So you would need to have like spiral staircases on either side going up really, really high to go over and then back down. So it wouldn't even be, it couldn't be accessible for folks. Like if you have a bad knee, you're not going to be able to get up that staircase. So there are challenges there. And in terms of owners, yeah, but what I can say is, yes, you're right, there are pedestrian concerns across that highway. It is a struggle. I don't know if building a really tall walkway is going to be the way forward, but it's something that maybe we go under, I'm not sure. Maybe one day there will be teleporters, and that would be, I'm not sure what the answer is, but I can't say you are right, it is an issue, and we are aware of it. We just don't know what the answer is yet.
Thank you for that. Jonathan?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So we have about 15 minutes left, and we do have some questions that were submitted online. So
Okay,
if
thanks.
it's okay, I might just
Sure.
ask a couple of them. The first one, it's number 7 on your list that you guys saw that was submitted. It's there's a large pothole by the PB Mart. When will this pothole be fixed?
So that one I promised I'd take on. So the road at Edgefield Commercial near the PV Mart, it's a private roadway and it's the responsibility of the developer. So we don't maintain or repair that roadway. We have reported the concern directly to the developer. And I know we've done that in years past and had them fix it right away because I was the one who reported the pothole and went, this is insane. So I'm hoping to see some movement on that. Hopefully before the winter, but again, we're not in control of that because we don't own that roadway.
Thank you, Councillor Langmaid. Jonathan?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this question was kind of timely with the announcement that happened over the weekend, but we do hear from the public a lot. I can't find a doctor. What is being done to help get more doctors to the town to support residents who maybe are having difficulty finding doctors or medical services?
Thank you, and I can take that one on because I've been working with different groups of doctors. This summer, it actually fell into my hands. A lady doctor, a wife of another doctor, contacted me in early July and wanted to know if she could take a look around the town. So Scott and I toured this married couple and their 2 boys around town. We showed them all the amenities as well as we showed them some of the potential clinic sites. And I can happily report that yesterday, it's on my mayor's page. And if you're not on my mayor's page and you'd like to be a member, just shoot me a request and I'll take you as a member. And I try to report on things on that page as far as things that develop. So yesterday we had a ribbon cutting at the new Bethel Medical Center, and that is right at the Co-op Shopping Center. It's where Pinnacle Medical Clinic used to be. So we have 2 new doctors there. They are ready to start getting applications and meeting with potential patients as of November 24th. So 1 week from today, you can start to contact them. You can pop there or phone there, and they will set you up with meetings for your first initial consultation. So there'll be 2 new doctors there, replacing the ones we lost. They also have plans to possibly take another one fairly soon, so that will give us 3 new. We also have 2 doctors who are currently working through a lease arrangement at Country Plaza, which is the strip mall where the A&W and Roadhouse restaurant is. So they're working through something there, so we have high hopes for them. I toured around another set of 2 doctors who are also looking at different locations in town. And there is one doctor that's going to be replaced, who's going to replace a doctor leaving the Crystal Ridge Medical Center. So we do have the potential for 6 to 7 doctors. And I'm really happy about that. Council and I were so happy to be able to share in the grand opening tomorrow. We also did a physician, and just this is for people at home, you're not here, and those who are here as well. We didn't sit back and just wait for doctors to, although in the first case, they contacted me and we all mobilized to try to help them get located here. And a big shout out, I wanted to thank our CAO Scoble, his senior leadership team, the planning department, because once the idea comes to council, we have the overarching idea and we try to help as far as what we can do with something like doctors. But the staff are the ones who work in the trenches to make things happen. So for example, if there are building permits that need to be taken out for renovations in a clinic, it's our staff who do all the working with the people wanting to bring a clinic. They do all the work, again, as I said, in the trenches to make things happen. So I wanted to really recognize our staff and our CAO for that. You guys are the ones who do the bulk of the effort on that. So we had a physician incentive program. We have one, and it offers financial support to physicians who will establish a primary medical care center in Strathmore. Eligible applicants have to commit to operating a local practice within 12 months. So there's a time that they need to get a clinic up and running, and they also have to commit to staying in our town for 5 years. So we don't want to attract 2 new doctors to set up a clinic. We help with the funding. We help as much as we can, and then they're gone the next year. They have to commit to being here for 5 years. And now this couple at the Bethel Medical Center, they've come to really love Strathmore, and so I hope we can keep them for a long time. As I said in our tour, we showed them everything that Strathmore has to offer: the golf course, the pool, the schools, the arena, the Strathmore Motor Products Sports Center. We showed them all of that, as well as potential sites, and luckily, happily, we were able to attract them, and they plan to stay here. Recently, the town awarded 2 of these grants valued at $45,000 each, and now we understand that 2 new medical offices will be opening by the end of the year. So there's that other group of 2 doctors that we hope things will go well with their leasing arrangement, and then we'll have another 2 set of doctors. So that would be really exciting. We have a physician sponsorship grant as well. It helps local medical offices sponsor internationally trained doctors through the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta. And that way, the town has awarded 1 grant through this program valued at $30,000, and we hope to announce that new doctor coming to Strathmore shortly. So I've been told that there will be one coming to the Crystal Ridge Clinic. If you were a patient there of a doctor who's left, there should be one replacing. So it's a lose one, get one kind of a deal, which is still good for our community. Lastly, we have a group of young doctors who are really interested and willing to bring a CT scanner to our community. They will pay for the CT scanner, which is incredibly expensive, and they will pay for operations. All we need is to have the provincial government provide a contract through AHS for them to operate it in our town. And just think of what that could do for this whole area. People in the community, people in the county, people at Siksika, they could come to Strathmore and get a CT scan done instead of having to drive into Calgary and deal with it there. We could, as that could be, as CAO Scoble first brought up in our town when he came here, that could be a really good step in making Strathmore become a medical hub. And the city of Chestermere is very interested in this. They're willing to support in whatever way that we can agree on. So that could be a really exciting thing for our community. These initiatives that I've just explained are aimed at attracting and retaining doctors to meet the growing healthcare needs of our town. So we didn't sit back. One of our vision items, we have to come up with a vision for the town of Strathmore for every new council, and one of them was community health and wellness. So we really went after this. Same thing with affordability. We really went after trying to help developers build new subdivisions, some new multi-unit housing. All those things we do in our strategic plan, and it keeps us focused on what we need to do to make the town better. And the health and wellness one was something that we really went after as far as doctors and attracting them and trying to have more services at our hospital. So we will always and we will continue to advocate to our province, and our MLA has been really good at listening to us and helping us, so we're hoping we can continue to lobby them, and maybe, just maybe, this CT scanner in our town will become a thing for us all to be able to benefit from. Well, that's one of the locations. We're hoping that, and I've done a few hospital tours with different MLAs and their staff over there. We feel that there's room there, and that would be wonderful. I've been in the downstairs of the hospital, and they were saying that there's room there. They were also saying that they used to have their offices, their administration offices, in portables. So there's a way to also return to that, too. Maybe you have portables for office work, and that frees up space inside the hospital for something like a CT scan. So fingers crossed, and it would not hurt if you reached out to our MLA in a positive way and say that, you know, Strathmore and region really need a CT scanner. We've got a group of doctors ready to go. Let's help them get going, and let's help this happen. Jonathan.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So I do have 2 more submitted questions. The first one, and it's kind of come up a little bit today, is why are my taxes high and climbing?
Okay, we did talk about this a little bit at the start. Taxes are high. Thanks. Councillor Chisholm will jump in on this. Thank you, Councillor Chisholm.
Thank you, Mayor Fuel. My name is James Chisholm. I'm a new councillor to Strathmore, and absolutely enjoying the opportunity. And as I'm learning things and growing in this role, and there's going to be a large learning curve. So some of the things I heard this morning to help us continue to grow is getting in front of the right person at the right time and the right way. So I heard about snow removal. So we'll get you in front of the right person at the right time in the right way, and they can have a better impact on a great experience for you. I heard also other things about people opening their door on the left-hand side, and it's causing challenges. So that's a cultural thing in how we do things around here, and I know our community here in our town will continue to grow educational experiences for our residents and just how we do things around here and what's acceptable. I also heard feedback with solutions, so keep doing that, giving the feedback with solutions that will help your council enhance our residents' experiences here. So thanks for allowing me to share that a little bit. So why are taxes high and climbing? And this is a good question, and it should be a good question that's asked all the time. Why are taxes high and climbing? And further to Mayor Field's point about strategic plan, our strategic plan is one of the foundational things that help us move our community forward. And fortunately or unfortunately, there's a cost to do that for growing and improving our communities, such as increasing our health experience for our residents. And also sustainability. My past experiences with being a banker is I love to deal with businesses that had strong capital bases, and their ability to pivot and make changes when the opportunity was more prevalent and you get a better deal. So part of that is being sustainable. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I think mostly unfortunately, is inflation. Inflation has an impact on the cost of doing business, and we're not immune to that. I'll also say the little bit of time that I've been here and reviewing the financial results of the town over the last few years, you can feel proud of your senior leadership team on their ability to manage expenses and hold the line when and if they can. So I was very encouraged on that, and congratulations to you guys. Also, building up a capital base. So we need to do that, you guys. We need to continue to build up our capital base. The community and the town is going to grow. And our ability to fund that, you're hearing this from a banker, less loan and more of our own capital to help reduce those costs of the interest costs. So why are taxes going up? We're got a great strategy in place, what I've seen, for sustainability, and we want to understand and have a predictable tax strategy moving forward. Thanks.
So on that note, all right, you talk about affordability and for seniors who are on pensions, you know, like even if it is provincial, 13% tax hike is a lot. And it can take food off your table. It can take other things. Like you got to look at the whole picture.
Yes.
You could be driving seniors on the strap. I've heard that from others as well.
Well, thanks for that feedback, and that's part of our cultural and strategic plan is that you can live your whole life experience within Strathmore.
So when do we get to see this 4-year, whatever it is, strategic plan? When do we get to see it? Because in my opinion, and I haven't been following closely, I'll admit, in the last few years, but this whole issue with this building we're sitting in right now, I don't from what I heard, and again, I did not follow it, was not handled in the best possible way, and the cost of it was way over what
Sure.
the town.
I can explain all of those things. Well, it's not empty most of the time, not anymore. It might have been right after COVID because there was a lot more working from home. We're having more and more people working in the facility, so that part's not an issue anymore. And we actually are doing some internal renovations to give people more office space. So we are moving that way. We have a lot of people here on an everyday basis. That was the whole reason. That was one of the main reasons to come here. Was we improved Second and Third Avenue. Again, we made it a touch narrower to slow down traffic. We put in trees and shrubs to beautify it. So we did those two things. I went to two conferences on how to rejuvenate a downtown, because in 2010, when I first ran for council, we had empty businesses downtown, and it was a campaign issue for every candidate. What are you going to do to save the downtown? So I went to a couple conferences, and the first thing they said was, the number one and most important thing is to have people living in your downtown. So we changed some zoning, which allowed for more multi-unit developments downtown to increase the number of people down here. Then we renovated 2nd and 3rd Avenue, which you've seen with the trees and shrubs. Then we had more events downtown. We had more nighttime markets, more weekend markets. We tried to really support the Chamber of Commerce and the downtown businesses. So that was another thing we did. So those are the three things. And the fourth one we thought was our town offices were undersized and the people were really crowded into cubicles, and there were problems with windows leaking, skylight. The roof was a problem. So we decided if we're gonna really support downtown, we'll have an office building down here, and that would attract people who are coming to pay property taxes or utility bills, or developers and builders who are coming for building permits. They'll also come down to the downtown area, and maybe they'll stop at the drugstore and fill a prescription or buy something there, or maybe they'll go to a lunch meeting right after in a downtown restaurant. So all of those things, we wanted to bring energy and we wanted to bring things to the downtown core. Like we have a staff of about 80 in this building. Does that make sense? So we have a staff of, so we're bringing 80 people to the downtown core every day now. Now, to address your concerns about the town office, I have worn this for 4 years. I've owned up to it. This town office did go over budget by about $3.5 million. Absolutely, we went over budget, but we also did things to improve things for everybody in Strathmore with this building. And I'll give you a real concrete black and white example. When we did this building, we intentionally chose a 2-story building so it wouldn't be a huge footprint going into the park. It stayed right in the parking lot. We kept the same number of parking spots. But the concrete example of how a cost got added to the town of Strathmore's office building is when we dug into the ground for the foundations and everything, we found that the stormwater sewer pipes that were coming from the Grays wetland, because this is all part of a stormwater system, the Grays wetlands comes underground in a pipeline system to here, and then it empties into Strathmore, into Kinsman Lake. And then Kinsman Lake goes under Center Street and empties into the big pond right by the Days Inn. And then it goes under the Trans-Canada to South wetlands too, and South storm ponds. So what we found was the storm pipes through this parking lot were all damaged. Roots had gone through, there were broken pipes, and we also found heavy chemicals under the ground here, because I don't know if everybody knows this, but this used to be a freshwater area, and years and years ago, I don't know how long, but there may have been stuff put in here that shouldn't have been, because when we did the pipes and replaced the infrastructure, we had to do testing below the ground. We found benzene, we found heavy oils. So all those things were here. So by replacing the stormwater pipes, We now don't have stormwater going through contaminated soil into Kinsman Lake. It's a better system for everyone in the town and everyone in the area, because eventually all these ponds that I've mentioned, they go into the WID system for irrigation. And so we have now made it better. But unfortunately, that became part of the cost of the town hall. So there were overruns. And I can tell you this because I lived through it, and I took it on the chin, and I owned up to the fact that we went over budget. The staff who were the most closely involved with that are not with us anymore. This is a whole, over the past 5 years, we've got new people in, and there were problems, and people did leave. But here's the other side that people don't know, is that the Strathmore Motor Products Sports Center came in under budget. But you don't hear people talking about that because they were up in arms, and rightfully so. We went over budget on this, but there are other factors that caused it, as well as, you know, the problems related to staff decisions and what was going on. So I apologize to the town of Strathmore residents. I know that the project went over budget. We didn't always get what we felt would be the best information, so we didn't know the full extent of what it was until it became true. And then we had to deal with it. But I just want to point out, I think we're really, really close to having the debt from this building paid off. Are we getting anywhere? Getting close?
We still have some debt left on this building due to probably, as you just mentioned, some of the cost overruns. We will be coming back to council on some strategies on dealing with some of the balloon payments that are coming in the next few years.
Right.
But this is all going to be part of the 2026-2027 plan, was working with council.
Okay, thank you. So again, I apologize that we went over budget. Council does the overarching decisions. We get reports from staff. The reports we were getting were positive, and there was no indication that things were wrong until it was too late. So you're absolutely right. We went over budget. We do have a strategy in place to pay for it, and there have been changes in staff because of that. But you know, having you bring it up here is not a problem, because I took it on Facebook. It went from a murder in Strathmore in my first term to COVID to this town office going over budget. And so I've taken it on the chin, and I totally own that there were problems with the way this was built. But yeah.
Going forward,
Yes.
do you think for major projects
Yes.
like that, you shouldn't have to look somewhere
Yeah.
to voice it?
Yep.
Maybe you should talk to the town people? I'm talking like major projects.
Yep.
I've heard
And we did.
another hockey arena?
Well, okay, that's a separate issue.
That's what I want to know as
Sure.
a taxpayer.
Yeah.
Is I should know, or we should know,
Yeah.
as town people, what major projects
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I will say this, that we now have a professional civil engineer as our CAO. So he's worked in the oil and gas industry. He's helped bring in major pipeline projects in the multi-millions of dollars. I don't want to try to quote a number because I'd be wrong. He also helped, he's from St. Albert. He's helped bring in a highway twinning there. So he has incredible knowledge and experience. And he's a product of the master's, an MBA from Queen's University. So we have the staff now who are fully invested, and they know what's going on. And we did ask questions, but we weren't given proper information, and those people are not with us. As far as will the public hear, there will always be opportunities for public to weigh in. If I can come back quickly to your hockey arena, that's a concept much like we did with Strathmore Motor Products, where it would be a collaboration. Wheatland County would be approached, the town, possibly the school division, for a single sheet arena at the school. And that's something that council has to vote on. I have no idea if this new group will even will want to do it. If they decide not to, I'll support their decision. If they decide to do it, you know, I'm a proponent for the single sheet arena because it supports the school. And just hear me out. I know you're shaking your head, but just hear me out. Having a single sheet arena would delay us having to do a twin arena with the population growth we're going to have. because all the little kids, all the younger kids could move their practices from our current twin arena to the single sheet, and that frees up ice time for other kids. The second thing is, if the arena is part of the school building, then if there's a major roof repair that has to be done in 7 years, the province pays for that because the arena is attached to a provincially supported school. So there are positives and negatives to a single sheet arena. There will be negatives because obviously we'll have to find the money for a single sheet arena, but it'll be cheaper than a twin arena, and it could delay a twin arena for many, many years. And the last thing is you share in the payment for it, because we would ask Wheatland County if they would consider being a part of it. Because from what I've been told, 40% of the kids who go to Westmount School are county kids. So if the county kids are benefiting from an arena for their phys ed programs and for their school's hockey academy, then potentially Wheatland County would put in money like they did for the Strathmore Motor Products. And we know that if you collaborate with other groups for a project, you can save a lot of money. I mean, we didn't have anybody collaborate with us on this town hall, and you're absolutely right. We lost money, and I'm really sorry about that. But we've found ways to deal with it. The hockey arena, if it were to be approved by this new town council, we would look for partners to help share in bringing the cost down. And it would help us having to do a twin arena because our population is going to really grow. And that means all the minor hockey programs are going to be going through the roof. Ice time is going to be at a premium. And as I said, this council may say, no, we're not doing a single sheet arena at all. And I will support that.
And also based on you did a survey of all the residents. I think it cost the town $65,000 or something. But that came back with the arena being very low rate.
Yeah.
So why aren't you listening?
Well, here's why this whole project even came to us as a single sheet arena. The school division came to us and said, would you like to partner again the way we did at the Strathmore Motor Products Sports Center? We weren't prepared to do the Strathmore Motor Products Sports Center either. It wasn't on our radar. But sometimes an offer is too good to turn away. So with the sports center, we knew that walking was a #1 priority as far as seniors. Being able to get out on the pathways was very high. So you're right, the hockey one may be lower, but we weren't prepared to do the sports center. We decided it was a good thing to go for because we had the town paid okay, that's a $10 million sports center, okay? We paid $5 million, the county paid $3 million, the school division paid $2 million, and the owner, developer of that Edgefield area donated the land at $1 million value. So if you look at that from a financial point of view, the town got the benefit and our town residents got the benefit of a sports center, a $10 million sports center, by putting in $5 million. So that was we thought that was a win-win because county residents can use the sports center as well as town residents. So we're thinking, pardon me? Yeah, we have a partnership on the operations costs as well. So we don't shoulder the whole burden as a town. The county also puts in money. And if the arena were to be approved by this council, which I'm not saying it would, then hopefully we would have the same kind of model as we do at the sports center, where we'd share in the cost of the building, we'd share in the operations, and if there was major structural things, roof-wise, the province is now involved again because they're attached to it. The other thing that people don't know is this single sheet arena attached to the new Westmount School. This is the last time that the province will allow a municipality like Strathmore to take that land and use it as an asset. So we get to claim ownership of that portion of the property. After this year, you can't do that anymore. It's provincial land. So there is a benefit that way in that the land and its value and the value of the arena is an asset for the town. That won't happen anymore after this year. Yes?
So I understand about, an indoor arena
We do have an outdoor, we have an outdoor arena. I don't know, you'd have to ask minor hockey and figure skating and ringette why they don't practice. Sorry about that, didn't mean to strike you. You'd have to ask them why they don't practice on the outdoor arena. Maybe it has something to do with Chinooks and the ice surface and maintaining it. I don't know.
We all grew up with that.
Well, I didn't because I didn't skate.
Well, I was a figure skater.
Yeah.
That's where we practiced.
Yeah.
On the outdoor arena.
Yeah.
And we would go there for the whole day. And you didn't have to pay to go.
Mm-hmm.
We had 3 different rinks.
Right.
One might be holding hockey, but the other 2, everyone else could public skate.
Right.
With no cost.
Right. And I don't know the full extent of why minor hockey, ringette, figure skating wouldn't use the outdoor rink. That's something that, we could start to talk to them about. Again, I just want to reassure everybody, this arena project came to us from Golden Hills School Division. It would help support their hockey academy. It would help support Trinity Christian's phys ed program, Holy Cross, Sacred Heart, and Westmount School. I'm a proponent of it. I'm supporting. I believe in the project. I think it could really be a good idea because a twin arena is going to be $45 million. This single seat arena is going to be much less than that because it'd be more of a bare bones arena. I don't know if you've ever been to the Blue Arena at the Twin Arena. It would be more like the Blue Arena where there's limited seating. You'd have some change rooms and everything. And again, I'm just going to reassure you, I know you're not obviously happy with this, but this is a brand new council. If 4 people are against the single seat arena, it won't happen. And I will support their decision. If 4 people support the single seat arena, then we would make sure that we have partners involved to share the cost of it and that it wouldn't be a burden to our taxpayers. But that it all depends on this council. This council will decide one way or the other.
Doesn't matter the cost to seniors or to the taxpayer. And I see through the whole of Strathmore, all these parks that are supposed to be for the kids to play, they're empty. Where are they playing? In the cul-de-sac, on the street. And yeah, we build parks that nobody uses. The odd time, little ones with parents. Parents don't want to take their kids to a park anymore because they have to stay with them. And I'm just saying, let's look at not building stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And I understand that's.
My husband said, when there's a new development, there should be some deal with the developers that they put in. What was it you said? Like if it needs a portion of services there, right?
What they do is give them the land according to what they've been saying.
And that's what happened. That's what happened with the sports center. The developer builder gave the land. And in essence, the school division owns the land where Westmount School is and where the new school will be built. They're giving us the land for an arena. There's a value to the land where that single sheet arena would be. And they're giving us that land. Whether we choose to build it, I know you don't want to do it. I'm in the same boat. I'm a senior now. I'm 65, and I don't skate. My family never skated. My kids are all in the school sports. But I still see that there is going to be a need for an arena when this town grows. When de Havilland properties start building, there's going to be a need. There's going to be a strain put on the existing recreation facilities that we have. If people think that there's limited ice time now, picture 6 or 7 years from now when our town is not 16,000, but it's 21 or 22,000. So at some point you do have to build recreation facilities. One of the things that makes me think about this property is the financial part of it, is that it's going to put off this town having to build a twin arena for quite a few years. So there's that cost factor too. And to do a bare bones single sheet arena is not going to cost $40 million like a twin arena is going to cost. Yep.
What about if a developer like Lakewood, if when they come in to contribution to being able to have the opportunity to build in our.
That's a really good point. And we are, Kevin and I, CAO Scoble and I, we've been in many talks with, for example, de Havilland, because de Havilland is going to have an amazing airplane plant that's going to be bringing a lot of jobs to Strathmore and bringing a lot of people to Strathmore. But Strathmore doesn't get any of the tax revenue from that development because it's in Wheatland County. So all the town will be providing is housing. And if all we're getting is housing with no corporate tax, no property tax, it's not the best financial thing for a town to only provide houses with no revenue from it. So we've been in regular talks with de Havilland saying, you know, is there a way for you to make financial contributions to the town to help make us more whole financially, so that if we're providing all the housing, there's some benefit coming to the town. For example, if de Havilland has a huge subdivision that's built with a lot of houses, a typical home is going to have a married couple and probably one child, maybe two. Those kids are going to need to use the pool, the arena, the sports center, and that puts strain on our recreation facilities. So we're in regular talks with de Havilland to try to get them to hopefully see that we could use their help financially to offset just the housing that we're doing for them, because I believe it costs $107,000 per home to put in all the services over the time period that the house is there. And if it takes $107,000, let's say, I'm sorry, what's your first name? Let's say Rick is working with de Havilland and he builds a house in Strathmore. It costs the town $107,000 to put in services for that. It would take a lot of years of property taxes for the town to recoup that $107,000. Now you magnify that by hundreds of potential properties, that's a ton of money that it'll take a long time for the town to recoup that money that we invest as far as bringing services. And that's why, to your question, we are in talks with de Havilland, because we know that we're going to need a new fire station in the not too distant future. We're going to need another pool.
We do. I mean,
Yep.
I worked at the pool. I
Yeah.
know what we went through when
Yeah.
it came time to register kids for swimming.
All of that is on our radar. And our CAO and I have been in talks with de Havilland. There are other major corporations. If you go to Cochrane, they have an amazing aquatic center with a lazy river. And I believe it's called Spray Lakes. And they helped a lot with that. We're hoping, because we think de Havilland and Westerkirk, we feel they want to be good community members too. We hope that we can work something out with them so that they will step up and help us financially for things like a fire station. How are we going to afford a new fire station? We know we're going to need a bigger one very soon, because we need to have the proper fire coverage in all parts of the town. So if you guys live in Ranch, we need to make sure the fire trucks can get to you as quickly as they do to the far northwest part of Lakewood. We need to make sure that can happen. So we're going to need a new, bigger fire station. And one of my platform pieces was to start putting money seriously aside for a fire station, for a reserve for that, and to work with other partners who can help contribute funds. So maybe it's a de Havilland, maybe it's another company that we attract will put in some money for a fire station. We are in talks for that.
Shouldn't all developers, when they're building a whole area, have some responsibility?
Well, they do have to provide 10% of municipal green space, municipal reserve, so they do have to do that. And when we work with a municipal development plan and area structure plans, they also have to have school sites set aside. So there already is stuff in place, but you also hope that by working with a developer owner of a property like the ones that have come before, we can get some things from them as well. We have one landowner who is in the process. We've been working with him to be annexed into the town. and he is willing, ready, able to donate land for new ball diamonds, because this town really needs ball diamonds. We have, our minor baseball program is just exploding. There's so many kids playing baseball. We need to have more diamonds. So this gentleman is ready to do that with us as well, and we've already gone through all the processes. We're in the final area of going before the Provincial Land Tribunal for this annexation to be approved. De Havilland has also expressed interest in having some land they bought in the county be annexed into the town. We're hoping that we can work with these developers, these builders, these landowners to help us with our amenities, to help us with recreation, fire station. When we hit 15,000 official in the federal census, then the funding formula changes for the RCMP. Right now, it's paid, we only have to pay 30% of the RCMP costs. When we go over 15,000 officially in the federal census, we take over 90% of that funding. And we've been putting away money to get ready for that. We have been preparing for that changeover because next year is the federal census. So I just want to assure everyone, we've got all these things on our radar. We're working with these people to try to find ways they can help. I don't think I've alleviated your concerns about the single seat arena. And like I said, it would need a majority of council to approve that. If we don't approve it, will I be disappointed? Sure. But I will support the decision. And then we'll shift gears into getting prepared 7 to 10 years from now. What are we going to do about possibly needing a twin arena? And we'll be looking to get partnerships. We'll be looking to speak to major corporations, to Wheatland County, to all sorts of people who use those facilities. There are always ways to look at it, but it comes down to our new group. And that's why you guys, you had the election and you voted the way you did. You brought in people that who maybe support the views you supported, and we'll work on those things as they come up. You sure can. And anyone, sorry guys, I've been monopolizing this, but
I just wanted to add one little part. We're back to the discussion of how developers contribute to the community when they want to come build here. One thing they do and are required to do is pay something called offsite levies, which is basically a development tax, for lack of a better term, that they pay to the town to help offset those costs to put in the new facilities, the new sewer lines, the new water lines. But it doesn't cover everything. It only covers a portion. So they do contribute to the cost of the infrastructure. It just isn't everything. One thing that this council and the town could look at doing is we could expand the offsite levies that we have in place in 2017. It was changed so that we could now put offsite levies in place to cover recreation and other things like, I believe, fire halls and things like that. So recreation like arenas, pools, libraries, and currently we don't have that in place, but that is something that council could look at implementing for these new developers to be paying offsite levies for these things, so that as we grow, we have funding coming from them and from the builders themselves to help expand these facilities that the new residents they're bringing to town are going to want to use. So that, in addition to kind of the negotiations that the mayor is talking about that we are always doing in terms of trying to find land for new facilities or new parks, there's also that aspect to what they pay into the town when they come to build here as well.
So we've actually covered all the submitted questions because you guys brought them up on your own. You kind of led the discussion today, and we went right into questions, which is okay. You're residents, you pay taxes, we pay property taxes just like you, and I'm glad we had a chance to talk. I hope when it comes to the cul-de-sac, you guys will remember that citizen communication form, town website. As far as your concerns about the single seat arena, you can contact us at any time.
It really doesn't matter to me about the singles. I think my husband said a statement at the beginning, Strathmore, which is wonderful, because before I was here years ago, it was farms and country, and my parents were friends with the Holdens. So I was out here as a kid, and I thought, oh, I hate it. But and we moved here, but I realize now that, and it's great for the town, it's a town for families now, not so much for seniors.
Thank you. And I hope you feel like you've been listened to. Like, I'm not trying to argue down all your ideas. I'm just saying, here's why I was in support of a single sheet arena. I hope you stay in Strathmore because I'm a senior like you. I know that property taxes are a pain. We've tried to do our best really to keep them as low as we can every year. We have to also consider inflation. And we did have a 0%, for example, in 2021 because of COVID. But when you have a 0% and inflation goes up, you're kind of kicking the can down the road. That's an old expression that always gets used. But at some point, you have to play catch up because the cost of parts goes up, the cost of machinery. We have a new fire truck that's been ordered, and its costs have gone through the roof because of tariffs that the Americans have imposed, and as well as inflation. So prices change on us, and so we're not always able to be fully prepared because someone down south makes other decisions that impact us as a country too.
That's the way that you look at it as a town, is exactly how we look at it as seniors.
Yeah.
Everything costs.
I totally agree with you, and like I said, we all have to pay property taxes. We all have different levels of income. So in income, like I have a I got one person complaining to me on Facebook saying, well, you have a salary, you have a retirement salary as a teacher. Well, it's not my fault that I taught 34 years. I paid into a pension plan for 34 years. So yes, I have a teacher's plan, a pension, but it's not an exorbitant one. Teachers aren't exactly wealthy. But we all pay property taxes, and that's why we all work so hard here to try to keep any tax increase as low as possible. You heard from our CAO that going into the budgeting plan, right now we have a 2.8%, which is a low tax increase, but we're going to hit by whatever the province does for education funding. Yeah, so I think we have time for one last comment or question, and then I have a meeting.
For low-income seniors through FCSS, to offset some of your tax bill, you can apply through them, and as long as you're low income and they consider you low income, you do get so there's that.
For those of you who didn't hear, we had trouble with our microphones, but one of the ladies in the crowd was saying that if you're struggling as a senior or you're a low-income senior, you can contact our FCSS department and they can work with you for supports, different programs that we have that can help you. And we also have a seniors tax rebate program that I believe will be discussed in our budgeting plan this year as well, as far as what we're going to do with that. I know it's been a really important thing to our seniors in town. We'll be discussing all of those things, but if you're a senior and your salary is not high as a retired person, please reach out to our FCSS department. They will do their best to try to help you through a lot of different things. So thank you at home. Hopefully the streaming went as well as it could. To the people who came and were vocal and asked a lot of questions, I hope you feel heard. Hope you feel that we tried to give you some new information and addressed any of your concerns. To my counselors who are here, thank you for giving up your time. Some of you have left jobs for a brief period of time so that you can be a part. I know Councillor Brown has work he's working on with his job, so I appreciate him giving up 2 hours. Some of us are retired, some of us are counselors and have a new baby at home. You've all done some great things here today. I just want to assure you and reassure you that we have heard you today. We're going to listen to everything. This council is going to make decisions. It's brand new, this budgeting process. We're at the very first part of it now. We're all going to be trying to make the best decisions we can, keeping everybody's property tax in mind. So thank you for watching at home. Hopefully it was good for you. Take care, everybody. And if I don't see you at home, Merry Christmas to those people who are here. Merry Christmas. I hope you do have a wonderful Christmas this year. Take care of yourselves.